Welcome to a day in the Word. Today's reading is First Chronicles chapter 19 through First Chronicles chapter 21. First Chronicles chapter 19. Nahash was king of the Ammonites. When Nahash died, his son became the new king. Then David said, Nahash was kind to me, so I will be kind to Hanun, Nahash's son. So David sent messengers to comfort Hanun about the death of his father. David's messengers went to the country of Ammon to comfort Hanun. But the Ammonites leaders said to Hanun, Don't be fooled. David didn't really send these men to comfort you or to honor your dead father. No, David sent his servants to spy on you and your land. He really wants to destroy your country. So Hanun arrested David's servants and cut off their beards. Hanun also cut their clothes off at the hip and sent them away. David's men were too embarrassed to go home. Some people went to David and told him what happened to his men. So King David sent this message to his men: Stay in the town of Jericho until your beards grow again. Then you can come back home. The Ammonites saw they had caused themselves to become hated enemies of David. Then Hanun and the Ammonites used 75,000 pounds of silver to buy chariots and chariot drivers from Mesopotamia. They also got chariots and chariot drivers from the towns of Makkah and Zobah in Aram. The Ammonites bought 32,000 chariots. They also paid the king of Makkah and his army to come and help them. The king of Makkah and his people came and set up a camp near the town of Medeba. The Ammonites themselves came out of their towns and got ready for battle. David heard that the Ammonites were getting ready for war, so he sent Joab and the whole army of Israel to fight the Ammonites. The Ammonites came out and got ready for battle. They were near the city gate. The kings who had come to help stayed out in the fields by themselves. Joab saw that there were two army groups ready to fight against him. One group was in front of him, and the other group was behind him. So Joab chose some of the best soldiers of Israel and sent them out to fight against the Armenian army. He put the rest of the Israelite army under his brother Abishai's command. These soldiers went out to fight against the Ammonite army. Joab said to Abishai, If the Armenians are too strong for me, you must help me. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I will help you. Let's be brave and strong while we fight for our people and for the cities of our God. May the Lord do what he thinks is right. Joab and the army with him attacked the Armenian army. The Armenians ran away from Joab and his army. When the Ammonite army saw that the Armenian army was running away, they also ran away. They ran away from Abishai and his army. The Ammonites went back to their city, and Joab went back to Jerusalem. The Armenian leaders saw that Israel had defeated them, so they sent messengers to get help from the Armenians living east of the Euphrates River. Shofak, was the commander of Hadadezer's army from Aram. Shofak also led the other Armenian soldiers. David heard the news that the Armenians were gathering for battle, so he gathered all the Israelites. David led them across the Jordan River, and they came face to face with the Armenians. David got his army ready for battle, and they attacked the Armenians. The Armenians ran away from the Israelites. David and his army killed 7,000 Armenian chariot drivers and 40,000 Armenian soldiers. David and his army also killed Shofak, the commander of the Armenian army. When Hadadezer's officers saw that Israel had defeated them, they made peace with David. They became his servants. So the Armenians refused to help the Ammonites again. First Chronicles chapter 20. In the spring, Joab led the army of Israel out to battle. That was a time of year when kings went out to battle, but David stayed in Jerusalem. The army of Israel went to the country of Ammon and destroyed it. Then they went to the city of Rabbah. The army camped around the city. They stayed there to keep people from going in or out of the city. Joab and the army of Israel fought against the city of Rabbah until they destroyed it. David took the crown from their king's head. That gold crown weighed about 75 pounds, and there were valuable stones in it. The crown was put on David's head. Then David had a great many valuable things brought out of the city of Rabbah. He brought out the people in Rabbah and forced them to work with saws, iron picks, and axes. He did the same thing to all the cities of the Ammonites. Then David and all the army went back to Jerusalem. Later, the Israelites went to war with the Philistines at the town of Gezer. At that time, Sibekah from Hushah killed Sippai, who was one of the sons of the giants. So those Philistines became like slaves to the Israelites. Another time when the Israelites fought against the Philistines, Elhanan, son of Jair, killed Lami. Lami was Goliath's brother. Goliath was from the town of Gath. Lami's spear was very big and heavy. It was like the large pole on a loom. Later, the Israelites fought another war with the Philistines at the town of Gath. In this town, there was a very large man. He had 24 fingers and toes. He had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. He also was a son of the giants. So when that man made fun of Israel, Jonathan killed him. Jonathan was Shimei's son. Shimei was David's brother. These Philistine men were sons of the giants from the town of Gath. David and his servants killed those giants. First Chronicles chapter 21. Satan was against the Israelites. He encouraged David to count the Israelites. So David said to Joab and the leaders of the people, "Go and count all the Israelites. Count everyone in the country from the town of Beersheba all the way to the town of Dan. Then tell me so I will know how many people are there." But Joab answered, May the Lord make his nation 100 times as large. Sir, all the Israelites are your servants. Why do you want to do this thing, my Lord and King? You will make all the Israelites guilty of sin. But King David was stubborn. Joab had to do what the king said. So Joab left and went through all the country of Israel, counting the people. Then he came back to Jerusalem and told David how many people there were. In Israel there were 1,100,000 men who could use a sword, and there were 470,000 men in Judah who could use a sword. Joab did not count the tribes of Levi and Benjamin because he did not like King David's order. David had done a bad thing in God's sight, so God punished Israel. Then David said to God, I have done something very foolish. I have counted it, I have committed a terrible sin by counting the Israelites. Now I beg you to take the sin away from me, your servant. Gad was David's seer. The Lord said to Gad, go and tell David, this is what the Lord says. I am going to give you three choices. You must choose one of them. Then I will punish you the way you choose. Then Gad went to David. He said to David, the Lord says, David, choose which punishment you want. 3 years without enough food, or 3 months of running away from your enemies while they use their swords to chase you, or 3 days of punishment from the Lord. Terrible sicknesses will spread through the country, and the Lord's angel will go through Israel, destroying the people. David, God sent me. Now you must decide which answer I will give to him. David said to Gad, I am in trouble. I don't want some man to decide my punishment. The Lord is very merciful, so let him decide how to punish me. So the Lord sent terrible sicknesses to Israel, and 70,000 people died. God sent an angel to destroy Jerusalem. But when the angel started to destroy Jerusalem, the Lord saw it and felt sorry for all the suffering. So he said to the angel who was destroying the people, stop, that is enough. This happened when the angel of the Lord was standing at the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. David looked up and saw the Lord's angel in the sky. The angel was holding his sword over the city of Jerusalem. Then David and the elders bowed with their faces touching the ground. They were wearing the special clothes to show their sadness. David said to God, I am the one who sinned. I gave the order for the people to be counted. I was wrong. The Israelites did not do anything wrong. Lord my God, punish me and my family, but stop the terrible sicknesses that are killing your people. Then the angel of the Lord spoke to Gad. He said, tell David to build an altar to worship the Lord. David must build that altar near the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. Gad told David this, and David went to Araunah's threshing floor. Araunah was threshing the wheat. He turned around and saw the angel. His 4 sons ran away to hide. David walked up the hill to Araunah. Araunah saw him and left the threshing floor. He walked to David and bowed with his face to the ground in front of him. David said to Araunah, sell me your threshing floor. I will pay you the full price. Then I can use the area to build an altar to worship the Lord. Then the terrible sicknesses will be stopped. Araunah said to David, "Take this threshing floor. You are my Lord and King, so do whatever you want. Look, I will also give you cattle for the burnt offering. You can have the wooden threshing tools to burn for the fire on the altar, and I will give the wheat for the grain offering. I will give this to you." But King David answered Araunah, "No, I will pay you the full price. I will not take anything that is yours and give it to the Lord. I will not give offerings that cost me nothing." So David gave Araunah about 15 pounds of gold for the place. David built an altar for worshiping the Lord there. David offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. He prayed to the Lord. The Lord answered David by sending fire down from heaven. The fire came down on the altar of burnt offering. Then the Lord commanded the angel to put his sword back into its sheath. David saw that the Lord had answered him on the threshing floor of Araunah, so David offered sacrifices there. The Lord's holy tent and the altar of burnt offerings were at the high places in the town of Gibeon. Moses had made the holy tent while the Israelites were in the desert. David could not go to the holy tent to speak with God because he was afraid. He was afraid of the angel of the Lord and his sword. Thank you for joining A Day in the Word Bible in a Year series. Please subscribe, like, comment, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Until next time, shalom.